have four panelists and my colleague Samir Patel, who is the CEO at BSE. What the agenda and the topic is Indian millennials and the next generation broking. So where are we moving from here? So in the last decade, we have seen a substantial transformation from physical and dealer-based trading to the recent technology. Basically, all the companies who are traditionally old brokers or maybe traditional brokers, they have now shifted and transitioned themselves into a fintech brokers. And we could see the recent surge in account opening and the volumes in spite of being in lockdown. So before we proceed, let me introduce to you all my fellow panelists and my colleague in BSE, Shri Samir Patil. He is the Chief Business Officer at BSE. In fact, people know Samir because he has been very instrumental in the way BSE has been doing in last quarter. In fact, if you see in this quarter, Q1 FY 2021, we have made substantial progress, and all credit goes to Samir, the way he has single-handedly turned around all segments. So presently, he is the Chief Business Officer. He is leading all business verticals at BSE: equity derivatives, currency, commodity, mutual fund, insurance. He is also spearheading the India Annex business. He is an MBA finance and has 21 years of experience in capital market. He was instrumental in launch of flagship contracts of gold, silver, WTI crude, copper at MCX. He is also on board of India INX Global Access. So welcome, Samir. Uh, we would require an opening remark from you after I complete all the introduction of the panelists. Uh, then we have Sri Prakash Gagdani. He is the CEO of 5paisa.com. Basically, this is the India's first listed fintech company, and basically they are one of the largest discount brokers. He is spearheading 5paisa under the guidance of legendary serial entrepreneur Mr. Nirmal Jain. At 38, he is the youngest CEO in financial service industry and a tech freak and avid traveler. We have Sri Amit Golia, who is currently the Chief Business Officer of SBI Capital Securities Limited. He joined SBI Caps in August 2019, and he takes care of retail broking, retail assets, which includes distribution of home loan and car loan, third-party distribution business, along with corporate strategy, product, IT, marketing, and communication. He has 21 years of experience in capital market and has worked with Axis Securities, Motilal, and ICICI Securities. Amit is an MBA from Mumbai University. We have Shri Ketan Shah. He is the Chief Revenue Officer from Angel Broking with 26 plus years of experience in business, technology, and operation. He is leading the revenue function and customer engagement function at Angel, along with B2B and research advisory functions. He is an all-rounder in business, technology, and transformed Angel from traditional to technology broking house. We have Mr. Shankar Walia. He is one of the founder of Sharekhan and a whole-time director. He is a chartered accountant by profession, and he has over 30 years of experience in financial service industry. And he heads broking, lending, and investor education business at Sharekhan. So I welcome you all. Before we start, we would request Sri Samir Patil to give his opening remarks. Over to you, Samir.
Thanks, Rajendra. Thanks for your kind words and kind introduction. I hope I could have had the magic wand, to turn around the business single-handedly. But nevertheless, thank you so much for the kind remarks. Uh, Greetings to all the attendees and my best wishes. And I welcome all my fellow panelists, all known faces, and I thank you all for being on the panel today. Shankar Bhai, Ketan Bhai, Amit, and Prakash, thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to hear from you. And it's a very exciting topic here as well today. In fact, if we would have sat across the table in the month of January or February, and we have thought of discussing our future plans in the next financial year, nobody would have thought that we would be locked inside our houses, and nobody would have been allowed to go step out of their houses because of the COVID-19 situation. But it's heartening to know that no, you don't need to go to the office premises anymore. Work can happen from home, and in a very positive way. And this is the taking to be on the positive side. This is definitely a positive side because productivity is increased, capability of a person is increased. You have reduced your travel time, and efficiency has also increased. But Nevertheless, not to take away too much from what the pandemic has done and the damage it has done to the entire community, I request everybody to stay safe, stay healthy. But in this couple of months, in fact, from April, May, June, I mean, BSE on its front has been very, very supportive, not only to the broking members situated in the BSE building, but across Mumbai and across regions. BSE has been providing all kinds of facilities, travel passes to the employees of the members so that they can commute easily, freely, and they can do uninterrupted services to their broking houses, and work can be functioned in a very smooth way. We've been providing bus facilities with proper social distancing, so on and so forth. I think this was the duty, and this is what we have done to have the business performing in an uninterrupted way. But on the product side, we have launched many new products amidst this lockdown. I think there was no stoppage as far as the BSE was concerned, and everybody has seen what has happened in the capital markets, in the commodity markets, so on and so forth. So from March itself, in fact, in April, we launched the BSE launched the first of its kind turmeric futures along with the warehousing, proper warehousing, and so on and so forth. So that was a good sign. In fact, 20th April is a historic day as far as the commodities markets are in the history of commodity markets are concerned, because it was the first time that nobody imagined, rather, that the WTI prices could go in the negative zone, and that happened worldwide, and it went into negative zone on 20th April. But BSE again was the first exchange to announce that it is ready. BSE is ready to accommodate negative pricing in its front end system, so in its trading system. So this again, the point that I'm trying to make is not only the business, even the technology, the operations, all put together. They were capable enough, and they made the most of it in working the right direction, so that the net the end users, the market participants, the traders should not face any kind of difficulty as far as the trading is concerned, and no, it should not incur losses as far as trading is concerned due to all such reasons. So BSE was the first exchange rather to introduce negative pricing in their systems, front ends, and besides, uh, uh, besides, on 1st of June 2020, BSE again emerged as the first exchange to launch the options on goods in gold mini and silver kg contract. Again, BSE is the first exchange worldwide to launch such contracts, because worldwide the future, the options that are traded, they devolve into the futures, and eventually option becomes a future contract, and future goes into physical delivery. But BSE is the first exchange to launch this contract, and BSE was spearheading this entire product. And when SEBI formed a group for detailed study, BSE was made the head of the group, and we thank SEBI for allowing the exchanges to launch this contract. And since launch, in fact, we have seen a lot of traction. From 1st of June, we our average daily turnover in this particular contract is now close to 2,000 crores per day, and it is now BSE has emerged as the second largest exchange as far as commodities are concerned, only next to the leader. And the third exchange, earlier, which was the second exchange, is a distant far as far as the turnover is concerned. And it's not only the turnover, even the open interest is increased. And today, from first week, second week, third week, in fact, the contract expires today. Uh, we positively we are seeing physical deliveries also happening on the exchange. So all in all, a very, very good sign, very good contract with all small retail participants, jewelers, hedgers to come forward, hedge themselves by paying very small amount of premium, and safeguarding themselves against or mitigating themselves against price volatility. So this amidst this lockdown, a new product to be launched, a new ray of hope for the hedgers to come forward and hedge themselves. So these are all good things which are happening on the BSE. In fact, today we launched the as far as the equity is concerned, equity derivatives are concerned. Today we launched the first of its kind weekly contract in Sensex 50 futures and options. The LS will start from the 1st of July, that is Wednesday, and you will have proper two-way quotes and a very seamless entry exit. So I request you all to look forward to have a look at these contracts as well. These are weekly contracts, Sensex 50 contracts, but the twist in expiry, the expiry isn't a Thursday like we have on our India INX contract, which expires on Thursday. This is a Monday expiry. So so today is a Monday, the next contract will expire on Monday. So this is a unique contract, and when we spoke to all our members regarding, we were taking feedback for this contract, and they said, "Well, Samir, now they're so volatile times, and due to the uncertainty, there's a lot of risk. So we would like to cover this risk, especially during the weekends. So why don't you have? We already have a Thursday expiry contract. Why don't you launch a Monday expiry contract?" And that is where we got this idea. We launched this contract, and we hope to see good participation here, and we are enthusiastic that this contract should develop. And again, if you look at the cost benefit, the equity derivatives charges on BSE, whether it's futures or options, is zero. So you save a lot of basically on your transaction charges as well. And people always say if there is liquidity, then transaction charges do not matter. But here you will have a proper entry, exit, proper market maker, plus transaction charges are not there. So it's a zero transaction. So it's all in all a very good scenario for market participants, especially in this kind of a scenario, to come forward and participate. And besides, on the technology front, BSE again, to all its members, BSE is providing uninterrupted services of BOW and BEST, so that there is uninterrupted services for trading members. These are front end systems of BSE, and that too free of cost to all our members. So anybody who wants to wish to avail these services can be a member, and they'll have this services free of cost. On the international front, on the India INX, which is the leading exchange in the IFSC, India INX launched the rupee dollar contract on 8th of May 2020, and Honorable Finance Minister of India, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman, launched it. And today we are almost more than 90% market share in India INX as well, and the market trades for 22 and a half hours, and right from 4:30 in the morning to 2:30 at night. All contracts traded and settled there in dollar terms, and it's a trading platform with no transaction charges, no STT, CTT. So it's basically a trader's paradise. So with this, I had to. I mean, I to summarize the entire thing. BSE and India INX have emerged as one of the largest exchange as far as beneficiaries are concerned during this lockdown. In fact, even on the equity, I would like to mention our volumes have gone up from 2,000 crores to almost 4,000 crores on a regular basis now, and the new SEBI guidelines on the best price execution of BSE has issued a circular on that as well for the investors. So this might also help this movement further, and it will increase it will also increase the participation, or the participants or the investors will get a better price to execute their trade irrespective of the exchange. So whichever exchange has a better price, this will give an additional benefit for the investor. And this is again a good guideline which is issued by SEBI. BSE recently issued a circular. So we look forward for your participation. We look forward for this session. And I thought I should mention all these points because these are very, very important points to be taken care, which has happened during this lockdown itself. So all that we are doing in the past is always there, but during this lockdown also, BS has not stopped itself from innovating, launching new products or any new technology. So with this, I for having me here for the opening remarks, and I look forward to hear from Shankar Bhai, Amit, Ketan Bhai, and Prakash. I would like to hear from them their opinions and how the topic shapes up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you for your opening remarks. Just to add, in mutual fund, BSE Star MF has already contributed 6,200 crores which is 61% of the net equity inflow of the mutual fund for the month of May. And one third of every SIP goes through BSE Star MF. So we have all the platforms which are now firing all guns. Now the best part we are looking forward is the liquidity which we are seeing in BSE equity segment as well. We have almost doubled our turnover, and thanks to you guys, because a lot of accounts have been opened and there is a lot of volatility which adds to the value. And with the new price mechanism, the better price goes to the buyer or seller, the investor or the trader. That will also add to the value. So now we start with the
Rajendra, just a moment. I would like to just add one single point rather. In fact, on the equity front as well, as far as the number of trades are concerned, the number of trades have also increased on the equity front. BSE equity market number of trades per day has gone up more than 100% in last few days. So this is very heartening. BSE has started doing more than 33 lakhs or 3.3 million trades per day in equity markets alone. So this is what I wanted to mention. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you. So now we start with the session, and the first question that I would like to know your opinion, feedback, response is on customer onboarding experience during this time of COVID, where everything is under lockdown. And in spite of that, we are seeing a very surge in all customers acquired by major brokers, and everyone seeing a substantial increase. So, what was the reason? Is it a technology, the way we say the next generation broking? So, everyone has digitized, they've automated their platform, the onboarding experience of the customer has become very smooth, there is less of a paperwork. So what is that you guys have done that you can see substantial uptick in the customer acquisition? And if the trend continues, are we here to see doubling from 5 crore UCC to 10 crore UCC in next 2 years? So anyone can pick this question and then you can just pass on to the other panelists.
So can I start?
Yeah, anyone, yeah.
Okay, hi. First of all, thank you so much, Raj and Samir, for this wonderful introduction, as well as a great opportunity for all of us to be here. It's a very exciting topic, and really, I think keeping in mind the overall India being the youngest country and having almost 45 crores of millennials who are today in the corporate world, and probably in the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to see this number going up by almost 60 by 70 crores. This is going to be a very exciting time, and this is going to actually cushion all of us in terms of how we are doing business. So coming back to your question, I think the first and foremost most important reason for this kind of a surge is definitely that today there is no longer any difference between a metro and a non-metro, and this is largely because of the digitization tsunami which we are seeing in the country. And I mean, today, when we look at our customer base, when we look at the new acquisitions which are happening, they are all largely happening from a tier 2, 3, or 4 cities. So probably, will this continue? The answer is definitely it will, because I think lockdown has clearly become a big boon for brokers, especially all of us, as customers are sitting at home and they are trying to open accounts digitally, and they clearly see it as an extremely important tool for an alternate source of income generation. So probably they are trying to plunge their savings into the investments, and they are trying to take advice from the brokers, or they are doing it on their own. So clearly, the first few months of this financial year, we have seen a huge spurge in terms of the demat accounts, and probably what we are going to see is that we may actually end up having 1 million accounts every month. That time is not very far, and this momentum will definitely, we strongly feel that this momentum will continue. What is important to notice over here is that while we are opening the accounts, we are trying to start our investment journey, but it is extremely important for millennials or for all the people to actually learn the foundation of trading and investments before starting their investment journey, and it should not just be dependent on the unsolicited tips. So clearly, I mean, even the account opening process has become so simple today. I mean, everything is digital, be it the eKYC process or the Aadhaar based. I mean, everybody is today following the digital process. So clearly, this is a very very exciting time, and I strongly feel that this momentum will truly continue.
Thanks, Amit. Shankar, by your views? We are not able to hear you, Shankar bhai.
Thank you, Samir and Rajendra, for providing this opportunity. Also, for providing all the support during the lockdown period, be it providing passes or offering the transport for our staff. This was really wonderful, and congratulations for launching new products. So just to take off from where Amit said, I definitely feel that this surge will continue because people are seeing benefits of equity investments for the long term. Also, people are educated now. The business has become so much easier to do because digital onboarding everybody is familiar with. It's become as easy as opening a Facebook account to come to the market. So if we can open account in 10 minutes, so that clearly enables people to come to the market and explore. So that will continue. And also, what is important is that once they come, we need to handhold them properly. So we have various programs like what kind of profile you are, what kind of goal you set. So that handholding plus what kind of classroom we can fit into. So we have devised these programs so that people can really benefit in the long term from investing in the equity market. So if we do a good job as an industry, I think these numbers will continue to grow.
So are we going to reach from 5 crore to 10 crore UCC in next 2 years or probably 5 years?
I think 5 years. 4 years. Currently, we are seeing about 6 lakh account every month. So if it goes to 10 lakh, maybe 3-4 years, it should happen.
But people are more and more coming to the stock market. They want to invest because the FD rates are going down, and that is market is a place where they can park their money. Right. So, Ketan bhai, your opinion on this, because I have seen you guys opening accounts left, right, and center. And we have seen a very, very high number of surge from angel broking. So what is the reason? What are you doing something which others are not doing?
So Rajendra, you are right. We have seen big traction in last 4-5 months. So before I share our learnings, first of all thanks for all the support during this toughest time. For BSE providing us various passes and regulators considering various relaxation in terms of regulations and compliance. So thank you all for that. Coming back to the question, what we have observed. So we need to understand the situation and all the customer acquisition that is happening. Who all are entering the market. So if we look at the customers, they are mainly like if we analyze the data, it says that 60% of the accounts are of 30 less than 30 years of age, so which are clear millennials kind of a people who are very close to the technology. So right from the birth they have seen digitization, they have used various devices. So this is the game for them. And when we are looking at them and creating our processes which suits them best, in terms of KYCs or onboarding processes, etc. It is very easy for them to it's like for them to just enroll for a game, download an app, register through a mobile number and start gaming. So it's as simple as that for them. So they are ready to trade within 10 minutes or 15 minutes kind of a time. On top of it, I understand that this pandemic has created big trouble for the entire economy, but it has played in a way positively for the equity investors. So because the lockdown has been announced, people are operating from their homes. They have lots of time free, which they can probably allocate it to this kind of financial plannings, etc. And what we have observed is whatever engagement activities that in terms of onboarding or training or those kind of classes that we have been conducting, there's a large amount of participation that is happening. So because one is that people have a time to understand equity and their complexity. On the other side, digitization is playing its own role and making the game simpler. And on the third side, because obviously, the interest rates are been falling, FD returns are not lucrative, other debt instruments are looked at, very suspectable eyes. So with all these, equity is then only opportunity for, investors. So all these points put together, we are seeing a large amount of inflows of customers, and we feel that, this inflow is going to continue, because all these demographic changes which are happening in the country is, kind of helping the equity penetration across, the investors. So it's a good habit, pandemic is creating a good habit for all the customers to start building their portfolio in the young age, which will definitely benefit them in a longer term.
Okay. So what is your experience? I mean, the number of accounts that are opened, what percentage of them are active in the very first month?
So if I look at, the first 3 days, roughly around, 50% of their customers are getting activated.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ketan bhai. Prakash, your opinion, because I know Nirmal and I know you also. So you were actually, I was tracking 5paisa last 3-4 years. I mean, you were not among the top 100. Suddenly you are now among top 10. What is that you are doing something which we need to understand and others need to learn from that, and let there be a healthy competition. So probably everyone benefits. Just want to share, we want you to share your experience on the customer onboarding, on the activation. At the same time, what is driving customer to trade more on 5paisa? Is it brokerage or something else?
Yeah, first of all, Samir and Rajendra, thank you very much for having all of us for this discussion. It's good that in such times we all come together, talk about what is happening in the industry. At least it diverts our attention from the bad things which are happening to the good things which are happening, and stay positive. So thank you very much for having this session. You're right. In last 4 years we were nowhere, and now we are in top 10. So what is driving? So as Amit, Shankar bhai, Ketan bhai all said, what happens is, digital. So every one of us were always digital. Every broker had an app, but being digital, having an app or having a online and being digital are two very different things. From the time we started, we were very clear that you have to eat, breathe, sleep, everything digital. Always think that if there is nothing in the world that I can do, what is happening right now, that you don't have a choice. You can't step out of your house. You cannot do anything physical. Then what is left with you? This is the thinking that you have to have, if at all you want to do a digital. And that's what we started off with. That we don't have any option. We don't have branches. We don't have relationship managers. We don't have money. We have very limited money, but we still want to grow. So what is the opportunity? And that's how we started, and the same philosophy we continue today. And where we have seen surge, we see surge in across India. I mean, to be really very honest, we attract more people from the more than top 50 cities rather than in top 50 cities. So gone are the days, and we all are from markets, and we understand that how Gujarat and Maharashtra was important to all of us, because this was the bread and butter of broking. But today no one talks about that. You are the India investing. India is much bigger and much beyond these two states. So that has helped us grow. But what we have seen in last 3 months is something for all of us. It is unprecedented. Why? I mean, digital was always there. Onboarding had become digital for almost like year plus for most of the brokers. But why in last 3 months? See, for this, there are a lot of factors which has to come together, and there is always an influx point. That influx point, I feel, is the pandemic. Suddenly you wake up to a realizations one day that, and even if you're young, you're at 24, 25, 30, and you come to a realization that, boss, life is uncertain. Spending is easy, but earning is very difficult. Anything can happen. So, and these things do not happen over a period of time. It happens immediately. Suddenly people realize the value of saving. Suddenly people realize value of investing. People realize what wealth creation means, wealth saving means. And then that, coupled with the exposure of internet for customers, the exposure of the knowledge which is available online, and then you add all the digital platforms that the brokers have created. everything has come together at one point. And we should not forget one thing, that markets, market and movement of market is mother of all. Market going up by 25% in 1 month will bring everyone into the market. We thought April is aberration. From the bottom in March, we are at 40-45% up if you see mid caps. So when markets go up and all these things put together come, I think that is a point where these miracles happen of 1 million account and 2 million accounts getting opened up. Whether it will sustain, I, along with everyone, am extremely bullish. It will definitely sustain. It will grow, but market has to definitely support for all of this to happen on a sustainable basis.
Very well said. Now, taking cue from the same thing, you said people are now becoming more and more aware about saving than spending. So the accounts that are being opened at your end, are they basically investing or are they trading? So what is the next gen brokerage? What are they looking for? Are they looking for traders and speculators, or are they looking for investors who can start in a small way by doing a stock save or a mutual fund save and build a portfolio? Or are you guys looking for traders who can actually add value by multiplying the volume? So what is the trend you have observed at your end? And then I'll take it to everyone.
Yeah.
Same question.
So Rajendra, what is happening? It is a very interesting mix of customers nowadays. They come. So definitely, bulk of people who come to stock market comes for investing. So they want to buy shares, keep it for some time. Now there is nothing called as trader and investor in the market. Everyone is trader and everyone is investor. If market appreciates for 40% or 50% in 3 months, all of us are traders because 50% gain देखने के बाद कोई हर आदमी बेच ही देगा. So then it becomes a trader. If markets do not appreciate for 10% in a year, we all are investors. So there is nothing called as investor trader. It is always opportunity and the gain that you get. But what is happening now is the young breed is very smart. So they come. There are some certain section of people who come to invest. So they park directly through mutual fund, SIP, all three. But then there are also people who are technology backed. So they are tech savvy. They understand algorithms. They understand derivative strategies. They want to write their own strategy, and then they come to stock markets to test. Obviously, the money which they come to is lesser as compared to someone who is in the age group of 40-45 because he has more disposable income. So the money that they come with is less, but they are ready to experiment. It is not passive investing; it is active investing. There is certain section which comes in derivative also, but predominantly retail investing, stocks, shares.
Amit, your views? What kind of accounts that are being opened at your end? Are they more frequent traders, or they basically take a route of mutual fund and stock SIP?
See, if I have to just talk about SBI Cap Securities, then obviously the answer is that we get a lot of investors and not traders. That is one. But just to add on to what Prakash just mentioned, I clearly agree that today there is no real difference between an investor and a trader. And what is happening is that everybody is kind of a trader come investor. It is all about the return what he's getting. So what we have seen as a trend is that the people who are on the age side of less than 40, they don't shy away from actually booking losses. So probably if his idea is to get a 10, 15, 20% kind of a return, then whichever way he will actually try and book it and move on to the next. Like I just was when in the March, when we saw that only in like flat 20 days we saw the markets falling by more than 30%, we were really skeptical that whether this will give any courage to the customers to actually do some more transactions. But to our surprise, we saw that we are actually activating a lot more customers as compared to what we were doing between say April to March. So every month we clearly identified that customer. It's not just about opening the account; it's about customers who are lying with you, or staying with you, but not transacting, have come, and they have all the monies, and they have all the rights to actually start investing. They are asking what we need to invest. And then with this kind of a volatility, we are seeing that there is a lot of churning which is also happening. So the fact is that people are right now, I feel, enjoying this momentum because they are getting the upside as well, and they are having some free time also to monitor it very closely. And when you monitor it very closely, you tend to keep on booking your profits. You keep on moving out also from the stock the moment you see that there is some kind of losses which is getting. Secondly, I think somewhere people, at least the millennial side, they have got a good risk appetite. So what they do is that they try and play around in the leverage products. So probably if he knows that the way Reliance is accumulating, I mean all the funds from the market, and they know that the stock is going to go up. Now he may not have that entire liquidity to actually buy say 500 shares of Reliance, but probably he will try his hand out in the derivative side, because there he knows that he's going to only pay like that 20% margin, and he can play around. So we saw that a lot of customers are getting activated even on the derivative side, or mean say margin funding side. So I think this breed is very smart. They know that you don't have to stick around with the stock for like 5 to 10 years. They do their own calculations. They have their own goal settings, and based on those goal settings, if they get to reach out to that kind of a target price, they tend to square up their positions. So I think right now we are seeing a lot of excitement in terms of kind of people returning back day in and day out, week in and week out, and they are just trying to build up their portfolio and money. We are of course ensuring to send a lot of educative mailers to our customers. We're doing a lot of webinars with our customers. We're trying to explain them that this is the best time to allocate funds, be it on the cash side, be it on the mutual fund side, or even if you want to play around that, what are the ways and means to actually play around in this kind of a market. So I think overall, as Prakash rightly said, it's a great time. Market plays very important role, and we hope that it continues.
Good. Have you seen any increase in your margin funding book?
Yes, we have actually seen a very good upside in the margin funding. It has actually gone up by almost, it has become actually almost double.
Good, good. So the rally is here to stay. People are actually locking their funds, and they are not taking speculative position. They are actually buying stocks in delivery.
Right.
Good. So Shankar bhai, your views, because Sharekhan is among top 5 and the largest network of customers, and you have a lot of good research. So what have been your experience? I mean, the kind of accounts that are being opened, are they more frequent traders, or are they actually buying delivery-based, research-based stocks, which is given by Sharekhan, so that at least they make money?
Of course, I agree with the other panelists that more and more people are into trading into cash segment rather than F&O. If you see the market statistics also, F&O volume has gone down in these last 3-4 months. Sorry. So cash segment is where they are very active. They do certain leverages, but we've also seen that traditional way the traders have deleveraged a bit, and retail people are leveraging. So that is the phenomenon we are seeing, and that leveraging is also they are doing in a smart way. They are not over leveraging. They stick to the rules, and they don't hesitate to exit when there is they don't see an opportunity. So these are the smart people who are coming into the market. They play by the rule book. That's good to see. So we have a lot of education initiatives for these new people. Have a regular webinar with them. We have industry experts talking to them. We call it foresight. So a lot of initiatives we also take to educate them how to go through their investment journey. So those people who are coming, what we are seeing, more than 60 to 70% are new to market. So these people need real training, real handholding. So that's where we have a lot of programs.
And they are all tech savvy because they understand technology, they understand how to operate mobile app and all that. So they are on the go.
Absolutely.
Whatever they want, they can just execute the order.
Yeah, but I think you need not be so tech savvy, because once you start using apps, our apps are very easy to use. So I don't think you need. But obviously, these people they know how to operate without a good manual, so they can handle anything.
Okay. Ketan bhai, your take? I can see volumes going up through the roof for Angel also.
Ketan, you're muted. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Rajendra, if you look at, let's look at the history of the, stock exchanges. Earlier, when market used to fall, retail customer used to shy away from the market. But this millennial has a different behavior. This is for the first time it is happening that retail participation is increasing when the markets are falling. So, probably it has certain, maturity curve probably, or, their understanding about equity is different, different than all of us, how we used to look at the equity, earlier. If we draw a line, what used to happen just 2 years back, if we look at the, investment in mutual fund actually gone up in last, couple of years.
Right.
So, which is kind of, indirect participation in the equity. And given a market opportunity today, these customers are probably taking equity as an, direct route of investments. And probably over a period of time, once they mature and they, look at equity as a profitable class of asset class of investment, they will further probably, mature themselves into, F&O or more complex products in that aspect. So that's what, my take from this.
So from here, in the last decade, we have completely transformed from the traditional to fintech brokers. Everyone big broking houses have actually become a fintech broker nowadays. Where do we go from here? And what is that you can offer to the millennials who are looking, who are actually sitting on cash? Maybe someone already has started, they want to increase their portfolio. So what is that you would suggest? Is the mutual fund the route, or you guys are now a semi-mutual fund, I would say, quasi-mutual fund, where you yourself can create a basket or recommend stocks in a basket, which actually gives them better yield as compared to banks. So what is that you can offer in the next decade, which can actually create wealth for these millennials? Because these are the people who will be having surplus cash. And if you are moving from 2.5 trillion to 5 trillion in the next 5 to 7 years, enough money is to be made on the stock market. So the person who wants to start off now, maybe who has already started or someone who wants to start, what is your advice? Every one of you, a single one-liner, what is they should be doing? Because they should be speculating, trading, investing in blue chips. The normal trends are that you should invest in blue chips. But monies are made, substantial money is made in mid caps, but that is equally risky. So does your platform, each one of you have a fantastic platform, does your platform have that algorithm which actually identifies a stock which, suppose a stock has entered into a danger zone? Do you guys give an alert to those people who are holding to this stock that now it has entered a danger zone? Probably you may exit, even if it has gone down after he has bought it, or it has gone up. Either which way, either he book losses or he book profit. Does that algorithm is in place? If not, are you guys looking for that type of a thing where actually the robotics is driving the behavior of these millennials?
So, Rajendra, if you talk about us, see, we don't have these kind of things available for the customer. We are a platform which provide a low cost services, but we have aligned all the research services which are there. So we are not the experts in research, so we have just integrated that. But I think what people need today is not algorithms, because that was an hypothesis that we should provide everything and all, put all the logics and recommend people. But sometimes what happens is the customers don't value that. Need today is a simple platform which should be, which should be up and running, pun intended, and and I should be having a safety of my funds and securities, and obviously it should be backed by some advisory if at all. Otherwise, then there are a lot of options of me getting an advisory. So I think having a simple, easy to use platform for the for millennials or for any young investor is more important than having a very robotic based advisory. And anyways, when you charge 20 rupees for an order, a commercial, it is not viable to do all these algorithms. So for us, we don't do that. We provide only platform.
So I think there is one of the banker on the panel. They are cash rich. Probably Amit would be in a position to provide all this type of thing, maybe robotics.
Yeah.
Amit, have you built that?
Yeah,
Are you planning to build it?
see, I think, I will second to what Prakash has said. While we may have good money to invest, but we have to invest in the right things, and we have to understand whether it will really make sense for the customer. So to an extent, I agree with what Prakash is, that first and foremost, what a customer is looking at is purely a simple platform to execute, and that's what he loves the most. Yes, there may be some features. I mean, all this AI, robotics, all these are, the most used terms in today's world. But frankly, I mean, how many of them are using it in the right way? The question still needs to be answered, according to me. And if you ask me from my perspective, I think what is happening is that today the flow of information is like as equal to as a rate fluctuation. So a customer is already available with lots of information, and this has an impact. Every information kind of has an impact on the stock prices. So servicing him through an advisor and all are the things of the past, according to me. Today, everybody is very used to his smart phone. He is able to, add, if you give him a right mobile app, he's able to execute everything on his own. So the challenge is that can I make use of artificial intelligence or robotics to provide him those information which is related only to him, is I think something which he would really appreciate. So this is something which we are trying to work upon. We are trying to figure out how I can assist a guy in his mobile app or in his web trading platform, wherein I make the AI as his personal advisor and help him to actually take decisions which is related only to his portfolios. And that is something which we are trying to tie up with the information flow which is coming. But I completely agree with Prakash that end of the day, it is all about having a simple app which is a great execution platform, given those basic things required like a charting tool and any particular news on his portfolio, and he's actually good to go.
Ketan bhai, you have ARC. I mean, are you looking for that?
Yeah, so Rajendra, we feel that, see, we all human beings are a very emotional animals. Okay, and especially when it comes to investment and, the price of the stocks that we are buying, we get, married to the price. And, the moment the price goes down, we all starts, kind of justifying, why it is a good buy at that price. So, we start playing a role of a promoters and, management team. So, all these emotions, when you are talking about algorithmic or, systematic or AI or ML kind of, systems, you're actually moving these, sense of emotions out. And once the emotions are out, then you are taking an investment or disinvestment decisions, very objectively. So that's what, probably all the systems can play a role of. Secondly, most important is that a human being has a certain capacity, beyond which we cannot do analysis in terms of, information. While in case of a system, it has, no such bars. It can actually analyze millions and billions of data, and more data that you analyze, ultimately, it gives you accuracy of the results. So that is something, that AI or, algorithmic or robotic kind of, advisory platform that can, play a role. So, ARC exactly does same, and, we have seen that ARC, recommendations has, kind of outperform benchmarks consistently over a period of time. So, that's something that we are looking forward to. And that gives, accuracy in terms of, results, in terms of investment, disinvestment decisions, that customers can use. And it's very, user friendly way it is, integrated with our mobile platform and, all digital platforms. So, customers can, take a full use of that. And it's free of cost, obviously. I mean, we're not charging anything.
Everything is free now. You guys to pay to trade. So if I trade with your platform, you have to pay me.
Yeah.
Changar bhai, Trade Tiger. Anything you guys are planning on that front?
Yeah, we have for mutual funds some sort of a robo advisory, which depending on your risk profile, you can customize your portfolio, and also you can set various alerts yourself instead of we saying that we will send you alerts. You can do a lot of alerts. The charting and all is of course world class. On this advisory part, I slightly disagree with other panelists that now people only look for execution. So that's a different model where many people are going. But as you become more affluent, you need some sort of advice on how to build a portfolio and how to navigate this market. If it's true that people don't need advisory, then all these wealth organizations in India or worldwide would have shut shop. So of course, we cannot provide this service, special service to all customers. We have to segment them, and each segment will need a different kind of servicing. So, be it this thing, artificial intelligence or whatever, so those kind of things should be suitable, made suitable for each kind of investors. It may not be, same for all. So, artificial intelligence will help customize our offering based on their profile and what they are looking for really in the market. So this is in my view. So people need hand-holding despite whatever experience they have in the market. Some sort of saving nudge is required. That is the behavioral economics has proven that people do tend to follow the behavior which we can induce in them in their saving habits. So this some value addition still brokers can do. It cannot be just one way. There are both models which are thriving. There is merit in each models.
Good. So at least if you have to look for advisory, Sharekhan is the option available at the moment. And suppose, I mean, a very tricky question, anyone can pick it. I mean, who are happy to answer this question? How do you make money in the stock market? Who's going to answer this?
I think I'll give a pass to Shankar Bhai and Ketu Bhai.
Because we have been discussing, talking.
They have more experience in markets, how to make money.
I wish we had such simple formula. So actually, we are being disciplined is what can allow you to make money. So you have to have a long-term view. If you make losses immediately after investing, you quit the market, you're gone. So you have to have a long-term view. You entrust good advisors to help you. So longer you are in the market, you should not miss any market cycles. Longer you are there in the market, you make money. So you have to allocate right, like large cap, mid cap, or derivative. If you can't put everything in derivative trading, you will definitely going to lose. So different market scenarios play out a different way. Today it is a cash segment. Tomorrow it will be trader market. Then lot of today one sector may be favorite. Tomorrow another sector could be favorite. So we have to be alert in the market to make money. Otherwise, just following your instinct could prove costly.
The key to making money is discipline.
Discipline is a very key approach.
Very well said.
So that's why this SIP concept, rupee cost averaging, all these concepts play out really well if you invest for a long time.
Right.
On a serious note, Rajendra, what happens? See, it is, however boring or cliched it sounds, that you can, in the stock markets, you need to be invested for a longer period of 3 year, 5 year, and expect a 12 to 15% return. That is the only way of making wealth. If you're lucky, you will make it faster. If you're unlucky, a bit slower. But there is no other way to make money in markets. That's however cliched that sounds.
Correct.
That's the truth.
It has to be discipline approached investment rather than trading. So you start buying something, but you hold on to it. If it is a fundamentally strong stock, it has gone down, but it will come back. This is what the million is looking up. And now, before we wind up, a last question to you guys: what is a dream product that you want to be in the capital market? For example, there could be a lot of regulatory hurdles. You would have something, some imagination, some out of the box idea. I don't want the idea. I just want a product which could be a game changer for the Indian capital market, and the number of accounts not only multiply, but enough wealth is created for all of those who invest in that type of a product. So anything that you have in mind, any one of you, I mean, you can just talk about it.
See, this is definitely a dream product. Whatever explanation you have given, I mean, I think if such kind of a product comes, it is the most exciting product one can expect for. But yeah, I mean, I think I'll just try and attempt on one or two thought processes which are there. First is that we have all discussed about how these 1 million, 2 million accounts are going to get opened now, and it will be basically a monthly affair with technology being everywhere and digital account opening is there. These are clearly the game changer for the broking community, and whoever is coming is basically also looking at investing into many third party products like a mutual fund, NCD bonds, or even an IPO. So I think uh, this looks very nice, extremely good from customer perspective also, because of the interest rate being down. This is the best time to earn something more than the interest rate. But at the same time, it is risky. Let's not forget that investing into direct equities is risky. Now, keeping that in mind, I mean, my thought was that one thing which we can look at is that can we look at some kind of a capital protection kind of a product wherein, like, you bundle the equity as well as the mutual fund. I mean, you guys are there, you have both the platforms, be it equity and be it mutual fund, and you have got equal amount of customers being there on both the platforms. So if we can bundle this kind of a product where you have equity as well as mutual fund, and if there is some kind of a capital protection, I think it will ensure that whoever is starting his investment journey, it will make a lot of sense for him, and it will ensure that at least he's not losing out. So that is one product. And I am sure there will be regulatory challenges giving capital protection and all, and that's where, if it is kind of, I mean, if I have to just compare it likewise, look at what NPS is. I mean, NPS is nothing but government has framed a kind of a framework. They have done a framework, and basically then everybody like an HDFC or an ICICI is kind of coming up with this kind of products, and it is the customer's choice to decide which to go for, depending upon what return he's getting. So if something like that can be for the direct equity, it can be combined with mutual fund per se, I think it can really be a big game changer. And most importantly, it will be a very positive start for every guy who is actually kind of coming in for the first time on the stock market. That, according to me, is one idea. I would also like to touch upon second idea, which is like very close to me, and this is something which we have been trying from a long time, and that is social trading. I think, I mean, this is the time when we all need to actually go and talk, because today the way all these millennials are connected in the into social media, and I think what is the point of kind of coming to your individual apps and placing a transaction? I mean, why can't we have social trading wherein, like, just when you are in WhatsApp and you are just interacting with somebody, or when you are in a particular group, or on a Facebook? I think I mean, generally every guy listens to his friend, then or his colleague, or his broker, in that order, like, in terms of taking any investment decision. And mostly these guys are connected on the social media. So I think something like that, if it comes, it will draw a lot many customers, and it will actually increase the volumes as well. These are a few of the thoughts from my side.
Good idea. I mean, we will, at an exchange level, we are always happy to cooperate, participate, and support the member broker. Any thought process, any ideas that you have in mind, we can definitely explore. Check with the super regulator how it can be done, and for the betterment of the entire capital market and the investor community. But it's a good suggestion. We'll just explore and come back to you on that.
Yeah.
Prakash, any ideas that you have in mind, or you want to keep it secret? You want to just launch it and you do it?
No. If I think for what I feel, less of regulatory changes, I think that can be a game changer for some time.
That is something not in our control. Even we are being regulated.
Well, I think, no, but we are living in a time where a lot of innovations can happen. Not necessarily brokers are the only ones, or exchange are the ones who will bring this innovation. I think the young people who are coming to market will bring innovations and demand of products. I think social trading is really a good thought. Why can't we have that? So
Good. So now I give you an opportunity, every one of you, to ask a question to your panelists. So I have asked enough questions. Now you guys can ask question to the panelists. I'll listen.
Rajendra, before you do this, can I chip in with something?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. So thought I was left out because you only gave me to do the opening remarks, and then I thought I was left out actually.
Sorry.
So, but nevertheless, during the entire session, it was like walking through your taking you through a memory lane, down the memory lane. And in fact, speaking when Ketan Bhai was speaking, and he said never marry. So this is the first thing when I joined after my B school, I joined the foreign the world's largest commodity broking house, and the first thing that they taught us is never marry a position, come what may. So, in fact, and the millennials are teaching you this now. In fact, I absolutely agree with what Prakash said. What is a long-term investor and what is a short-term investor now? Because in 3 or 4 months, the value is appreciated more than 40%. And then if you don't execute your position now, then either you stay invested for long. So these are choices, and if this is the volatility that the market gets in, and definitely there are two ways looking at it. One, the millennials are also teaching you that you don't get emotions into the markets. They're the most smartest of the lots, and they tell you, boss, I come here, I don't look at the promoter, who are the promoter, I don't care. I care when I have taken a position, I've taken on some thought process, and this is what I'm looking for. If that does not happen, I'm out of the market. I don't care who's the promoter, what kind of credibility gets into the market. I've taken my decision based on all the options that I have, and this is what I've done, and I'm out of the market. So as simple as it is. So Amit also, I mean, was on the same thought, and even Shankar Bhai said yes, there is some sort of hand holding should be done, and if somebody shows you a way, why not follow that as well? So all in all, in fact, it was a very good session. I enjoyed each and every speaker. I was listening to the last word. So before Rajan, you said let them ask some question to each other. I thought before I forget, I should chip in. And one more important thing, if you remember, during the entire conversation, I heard that a day will come when the member will say, "Boss, the trader," we will tell the trader, "Oh, boss, you trade and then you gain some money." And that reminds me of the first CMW meeting that we had. And you remember our Vision 2020 document. The 20 this is 2020, and that point was covered there, if I'm not mistaken. And Amit was there, Shankar Bhai was there, Ketan was there. So just going through all this thing, how, I mean, this was what we had discussed 3 years, 4 years down the line. Today this is the reality. I mean, so this is also a vision from all of us. I compliment that. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir. And Amit, he is the person, if you really want to explore new products, new ideas, we have seen in BSE the mini gold options, the 1 kg silver options, the L1, which is not traded across globe anywhere except in India. So he's the guy who is front-ending the entire product thing. So any ideas, features that you think would be actually worked upon, which can benefit the entire investor community, we are happy to participate in that discussion, that forum. And Samir independently can actually take it up with the regulator because he has been doing it and he has actually shown it. We have seen that. We have seen the recent launches. So those are all new product innovatives that has been done. So I think we should use this platform and an opportunity to bounce off the ideas, whatever you have in your mind, and create a vibe or maybe a momentum around that product. So that at least today we have spoken on the social part. So probably, if, who knows, tomorrow or next time when we do a webinar, we are actually working on that part. So
Rajendra, one more thing. Rajendra, one more thing on the lighter side. I think you have got enough fodder from Amit as far as the new product is concerned. That I am sure that was going on in your mind.
So in fact, I wanted to hear from the horse's mouth. So I just thought, let Amit speak, and at least just I'll second it. So we are there, and we are open for new ideas. We are an innovative exchange. So things will actually turn around, and will actually overtake the competitor in the days to come because we have already taken the first step. We have already started building the momentum in all product segments, and you will see in a year or two we are there. So the entire what I would say, the game what we are actually playing at this moment is that catching up game. Probably will be leading from the front next couple of years. So now I give you an opportunity to ask questions to your fellow panelists. It could be anything before we wind up the session. Let us wind up in a lighter note, so you can ask anything, whatever you in your mind. But everyone should ask one question to whoever he wants to ask. The floor is open. I'll be only listening.
And I'm not a panelist anymore. Now.
So all yours. Who's going first?
Okay, so I'll start, and I would like to actually know from Ketan bhai. I mean, really, whatever we are seeing in the past few months, I mean, clearly Angel has turned around the tide in terms of the acquisition and all. So, is your EDIS, e-pledge, everything in place? I mean, today a customer is kind of 100% digitally onboarded, and just wanted, I mean, some insights on that. I mean, because this is my big compliments to you on this particular piece here.
So thank you for the compliments, Amit. If you look at the B2C business, which is 99% online. If we talk about EDIS or any other process change, yes, there were some hiccups because of various process handled by at a different entities, but we have kind of smoothen it out. So to a possible extent, we have tried and address the customers' concerns in a way so that the journey of a customer is made easier. But yes, this kind of changes will keep coming to the industry because we are highly regulated industry, and there are various entities and intermediaries existing in the system. Obviously, this kind of things will keep happening. But what we have to look at is given a scenario, how best we can address the customer's life, or how best we can give process flow to the customer so that he understands. Assuming that a customer is not really from a finance background, whatever that we are doing, is he able to understand? And if we keep that probably point in mind, I'm sure all of us can address that point.
Absolutely, thank you.
Ketan bhai, your turn. Who you want to pick up?
So, Rajendra, as such, I don't have, any specific question in mind.
You're giving a pass. So, Shankar bhai. You're muted. Shankar bhai.
Yeah, so Angel and 5paisa and us, we have to get our own, market share. But Amit has a backing of the largest bank. Is it advantageous, or how is it like? It's different compared to us.
Sir, on a lighter note, you have a bigger backing of a foreign bank, BNB. Samir, your
So, Shankar bhai, I agree. I mean, definitely, State Bank being the banker to the nation, definitely it's a big plus point, and we are trying to capitalize on that. We are trying to come out with a lot of new strategies, which we will ensure to reach out to especially the tier 2, 3, 4 cities where we strongly feel that the next level of customer base will be created, and these are the first timers who will come on the market. So, and that's where I think the brand will definitely help. Overall, yes, it has both its advantages and I would not say disadvantages, but there are certain limitations in which we work. But yeah, overall, I think you will see a lot of changes in the coming time.
Prakash, you are the last one.
No, I'm sorry, I don't have. I thought participants will ask questions.
So I'm getting questions from the participants. One of the question was that what is your lead conversion ratio?
Oh my God. Oh my God. So, do I need to answer that?
If you are happy, I mean, if you can.
I think we're getting so, and I think we're getting.
You can skip as Prakash. You can skip as well. No.
Yeah, I think as good as it can get. Lead conversion can be as good as it can get.
Bharat bhai, can we open the mics of people who may want to ask the question? Is it possible? Bharat bhai? Hello.
Chandra, it would be uncontrollable if everybody starts speaking there. I
He'll
suppose.
only open the mic of the person who wants to question. Anyways,
So
I
yeah,
don't think.
yeah, that's possible, sir. The attendees who want to ask the question needs to raise the hand and we can unmute them.
So only
That
one at a time.
yes, sir. Only one at a time.
Just
I can see a lot of hands.
pick up anyone.
So I'm picking Prapti.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Prapti, please ask your question.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, you're audible. Please ask your question.
And to whom you ask?
Hi, everyone. Is it possible to ask the question to the exchange?
Oh my God. Tell me.
It was just a little different from what we were discussing, but more on lines of the millennials. Since so much of discount broking, etc., has started, and a lot of digital broking has already started. That is the future. So, with the discount broking being in place, how does the exchange think, about it in terms of not charging anything to the customers? What does the exchange think on those lines?
Madam,
Like,
even the discount brokers are charging something, and we already are charging at a very less rate as compared to what other competitors are charging. So the cost per crore is less than 300 rupees transaction charge, and when you actually convert that into a ticket size of 20,000, 30,000 rupees, it will be hardly 10 paisa, 20 paisa. So I don't think that should be a big concern for traders or investors who may want to actually buy or sell stocks, because any which way is earlier the brokerage was the major concern. I think they have taken care of that part. So I think you leave to the exchange something. I mean, we should be getting something actually, because ultimately whatever comes is. Yes, I mean, you want to.
Yeah, I'll take. Yeah, I'll take this. Sure. That's a very good question, rather. In fact, the most important thing is, what does a investor need? Does a real investor need? He needs a good price to execute his trade, isn't it? So, best price to. So, if there is an option of providing a best price, that can be done now, because SEBI has issued guidelines on best price execution, and BSE has already issued a circular on this. So, henceforth, all whoever member you trade, he will offer you a best price, so whichever price is best. That is the key one. This is the key one. And second is, as far as the transaction charges are concerned, so there are a lot of savings when you do a equity, or do equity derivatives, or you do currency derivatives, or you commodity derivatives, like on the options on goods. So there are no on the gold and silver. If you want to invest in gold, if you buy a option, buy a call, or buy a put in gold, you pay no transaction charges whatsoever. So this is one of the most there are a lot of savings as far as BSE is concerned. In fact, on the equity derivatives also, the transaction charges are zero vis-a-vis the other exchanges. And as far as equity is concerned, we are cheaper than the other exchanges available. So all in all, a lot of savings when you look forward at at BSE. And BSE always thinks and always of the opinion that as far as the markets are concerned, the price are the transaction charges are very, very competitive vis-a-vis the other exchanges. Thank you.
And for see any member who does 20,000 crores and above in a month, they only end up paying 3,02,500, and beyond which everything is free. So commodities we are not charging, equity derivatives we are not charging, currency derivatives beyond a limit we are not charging. Even what we are charging is almost 1/4 of what the competition is charging. And when it comes to equity, we are again better than what the competitor is charging. And when you actually translate it into a small ticket, it's very fractional. I think I hope I have answered your question.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Who's next?
So next we have Mr. Pradeep Wagh. think he is not there online. I'll pass the control to someone else.
I think he left.
Yeah.
He left.
Pick up randomly any 2, 3.
Okay.
Take any two now.
Okay. So now we have Rohit Mahipal.
Question is with Ketan sir.
Yes.
Very scared investor at the fact when direct equity they mention so much thing. When
Sorry,
mutual fund market,
can you just repeat the question, please? I am not able to hear.
why we scare a direct equity investor at the very first go when he is starting his first journey in the market? The exchange market direct equity with a note that सोच कर समझ कर invest कर. When mutual fund market, they market like mutual fund sahi hai. So I think we are scaring an investor too much at the very first phase that direct equity is not good, or you must be very vigilant and all that.
That was for whom?
I'm Ketan sir can answer that.
Ketan bhai.
Being a
So,
I
my understanding in this, basically mutual fund and equity is a two different product with, two different risk. So because mutual fund is, portfolio of a stock, obviously, your risk is reduced versus, direct investing in a equity, which is, a single or, two stocks kind of investments, the risk goes up. And that's where, probably regulators are thinking that way. I think that's my take. Am I able to answer your question?
Okay, so we go to the next question. Last question.
This is the last question, please.
Okay. So Pragesh Sonani.
Oh,
Okay, Mr. Pragesh Sonani, please ask your question.
hello.
Yeah, Pakesh.
जा रही है सर?
हाँ, please carry on, Mr. Pragnesh.
सर ये क्वेश्चन एक्सचेंज के लिए है। एक तो अपना बीएससी एक्सचेंज रेगुलेशन एनएससी की मतलब कंपैरिजन में आप बहुत ऐसा हम सोच रहे। और दूसरा, हेलो
भाई आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है।
हेलो हेलो
हेलो,
आवाज आ रही है सर?
आप भी बोलिए। हाँ, फिर से बोलिए। आवाज आपका चला गया था बीच में, कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा था।
इन टर्म्स ऑफ रिजिडिटी आप एनएससी के रिगार्डिंग आप थोड़ा रिजिड है एक्सचेंज बीएससी पर्टिकुलरली।
इसका उल्टा है सर।
नहीं, हमको तो ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे हम काम कर रहे थे, अभी हम एनएससी में कर रहे हैं पूरा। और दूसरा, ये अपना कॉस्ट ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन है, उसमें आपका नहीं पर ऑल ओवर जैसे रिड्यूसिंग हो गई ब्रोकरेज, तो गवर्नमेंट का भी टैक्सेस रिड्यूस होना चाहिए, वो हम सोचते हैं। तो आप थोड़ा पास ऑन करो गवर्नमेंट को भी।
बिल्कुल सर, बात करेंगे। बिल्कुल, समथिंग व्हिच इज नॉट इन आवर कंट्रोल, वी कैन ओनली मेक अ रिप्रेजेंटेशन, विल लुक इनटू इट सर।
क्योंकि कॉस्ट ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन ब्रोकरेज जब रिड्यूस हो गई, 0 हो गई या 20 हो गई, पर अदर चार्जेस आर रिमेन सेम।
राइट सर, देखेंगे सर, उसको भी देखेंगे। वैसे भी हम लोग का एकदम ना के बराबर है, बट विल लुक इनटू इट।
ओके,
Thank you. I think Bharat bhai, and it was a wonderful session interacting with you all guys. Before we wind up, I just want to hand over to Samir for vote of thanks. And I think we should keep doing these webinars on a frequent basis. Not only it should be restricted to lockdown, but it's a good platform to exchange thought and understand what the others are doing, what we are missing. So overall, the entire pie has to grow. It should not be we are trying to just get into someone's area and trying to cut the pie. We have to grow the pie. So good thoughts, I mean, basically what good practices are being followed by other brokers. If you are able to make a list of that and if you are able to implement, I'm sure you guys will be doing it as a competition level पे analysis कर रहे होंगे. but still we should be doing these webinars where thought exchanges can happen. So Samir, for you for vote of thanks.
Thanks, Rajendra. Thank you, Amit, Ketan Bhai, Prakarsh, and Shankar Bhai. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your valuable thoughts. In fact, there was a lot of learning today. I shared, in fact, earlier when I spoke, and then and thanks for answering those questions as well. So, all in all, a very good session. Two things: getting new things to learn, and second, also taking everybody down the memory lane. So, thank you all once again for joining us today. Thanks, Rajendra. Thanks, Bharat, for arranging this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you very much,
everybody.
sir.
Thank you.